Hey guys, it's John back with another Lick of the Week video. This is a video aimed at my Facebook page, which is Lick of the Week videos on Facebook. And Joe, this is for you. You had suggested that I show some single string patterns in the mid area of the neck for G. So I'll just start out playing just a G scale. And as I talked about in our messages, I'm going to kind of start with a mode, because I don't really want to use any open strings here for this particular video. So what I'll do is I'll start on the A. So I'm going to do like a G Dorian mode here. So I'm just going to start with the A, and then wind up on an A. Now if you wanted to extend that farther, obviously you could go up to the fourth, you could go to a C, but if you wanted to stay right in the Dorian mode, and you could play that. But just for the purposes of playing the single string licks in general, I think it's very helpful to explore how many ways you can play the G scale in and around this D shape. So even if you don't start with any particular mode, if you just start with any note in the scale, not going from that interval to the same interval as a mode, if you just kind of randomly go through the scale, you could start, you know, anywhere in the pattern. And of course, now you can always find a single string, like melodic style, you can find more than one place for the same scale note. So where I'm finding an A here, I'm a little bit out of tune here, you can find the same A here. So some of the patterns, you could go up to here for an A, the 10th fret of the second string, instead of back here. I think this is just generally a more convenient location, you know, for your scale notes there. So let's just talk about some simple licks. One thing I like to do is just explore how many ways I can combine the scale notes in and around a shape, like I just did. So that could be a quick, quick way to, resolve back to the G. So I'm going third, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, D, G, F sharp, back to G. And I could have used the fifth open, it is single string style, but you could substitute the fifth string, but you can't control the resonance of that string, obviously. It's just going to ring, so I like to keep the G note there so I can, and that could take the place of, any kind of like standard, Scruggs lick there. What I initially said, in our conversations, that I wasn't going to use a lot of chromatics, but I like to use, even if you don't use a tremendous amount of chromatics in the beginning, this is a little lick that I kind of use a lot. And it does have a B flat note in there, so I'm using that to kind of hinge from that to there to the B. And you don't have to play it that many times. You can make it a quicker, and you can make it longer, Now, that's a good hinge point, I like to call it. You can use that as kind of like a jumping off point. So you can do something like that. So I'm going first string, 8, 9, twice, and then, as many times as you want, but that's the hinge point. And then come back here for the A, 10th fret of the second, back to the G, over to the E note at 9 on the 3rd, and then back. And if you want to extend that, then you'll go from the E, not back to the G, but over to the D note. You know, so that's something you can do. And you can walk the scale, you know, starting on this B note on the 4th string, so that's at 9, and then go 7, 9. So it's 9, 7, 9, 3rd string, same pattern on the 3rd, and then over to the F sharp. And you can do kind of, you can do it all across all the strings. And some of this kind of harkens back to Don Reno, you know, some of the runs that Don Reno would do. So if you do these double takes, where you know, hinge back and forth on notes, then you can make up some nice patterns with that. So I'm just rocking back and forth between the B and the D, and then the G and the F sharp. So whatever notes are, you know, in the scale pattern, just rock back and forth out of this D shape. Oh, sorry. And you can make it, you know, last as long as you want. That's the cool thing about the single string. Sometimes I'll do like things like that, and that's a chromatic. Again, I'm putting the B flat like from here, but I'm sliding from 8 to 9 on the 4th, so that's B flat to B, and then going to the D note on the 3rd. Makes a nice kind of swingy. Now, see, I'm reversing the notes. I'm hinging on the G note this time. And even though this is single string, you know, a lot of times you'll see single string players not hold down positions that much. But, you know, if I know I'm going to be working scale notes or notes that are conveniently located over a chord shape, I won't try to, you know, free up my whole hand. So that's why I'm using my ring over top of my middle, even though I could release the whole chord, but if I know I'm going to be coming back to this shape, I'll just keep doing that. Here's another pattern that I'll use. And that's, and again, I'm thinking about what fingers can I reuse from the D shape, even though this is single string. So I might go, and that's 4. There's that chromatic again. That's 8, 9 on the 4th, 3rd. And you can get really creative with stuff like that. If you want to blues this up a little bit, of course you can put some chromatics there. So there I'm going up to the F note, which is up here at 10 on the 3rd. And then going over to the G. And you can slide or just play notes. So let me try playing just the notes. Now, let me try that again. So I need to add another note to make it rounder, you know. Oh, didn't mean to put that chromatic in there. Right, now if you put slides, modification in there. Same thing happens here. So that's just a modification of the lick I did a minute ago. So if you tie all those together, you've got a ton of possible places to play licks that are just based on a few basic scale notes, and all of it overlays over this shape. I find it, for me especially, always been very logical and helps you from thinking purely about scale notes up and down the neck. If you can relate it to a chord shape, which is, again, goes back to what Don Reno did a lot in his style, then you have a handy reference point. The scale notes can be practiced but over a shape, which is really helpful. So if you add like the C note, and the seventh, the F, so you could I could just go on and on and on with these notes, but once you start playing with those positions right there, you'll have tons of ideas. So there you go. Hope that's helpful.